Okay. So you're all very welcome here today to my talk this morning, which is phobia solutions. So techniques to reclaim your life. Because I don't know, maybe you did know, maybe you didn't know, but up to 10% of the population suffers from phobia at some point in their lives. So it's a very interesting topic, and the effects of phobia on people can be very extreme and can really impact on their lives. So I'm just going to ask you, just before we start, just to consider yourself and see, was there ever a time in your own life that you were felt maybe that you had a particular phobia that impacted your life, maybe in a small way or maybe in a big way? Just consider that, because it makes us feel more towards those people who are going through that situation where their life seems to be out of control and the phobia takes over. Okay, well, then who am I to talk about phobias? Well, I am Helen Doyle of Helen Doyle Therapy, and my background is that I'm a hypnotherapist for the last 4 years or more, but I've also studied hypnosis focused traumatology, and that actually means that those very difficult emotions, particularly anxiety, that can just keep running in the body, and it's very hard to control it if you're just left to your own devices to do it. But also things like phobias and post-traumatic stress disorder. They're all really difficult emotions and feelings and thoughts that are captured within the mind and within the body. Actually, they're a lot of time they're stored in the body themselves, and it is difficult for people to deal with them. But that is part of my job because of my training. I love to get in there, and I mean, I love to get in there. So this topic is really, I'm just love talking about this kind of work because the benefits are huge to people. To clear out this part that is actually holding people back, the part that is making people anxious, stressed, can't do things, troubled, bothered. That's what I love to do, is to just get in there with the person and clear that out and begin to give them a different way of living. So, what is a phobia? So, a phobia, it is more than a fear. Fears are actually normal. We've all suffered from fears. And fears are a response that keeps us safe in times of danger. But to be honest, a phobia is a completely irrational fear. It's the kind, it's a fear of maybe a specific object, like a dog or a wasp. It could be a fear of a situation, like public speaking, or it could be a fear of an activity, like flying, for example. So there are so many different types of phobias, but they provoke this immediate and intense anxiety in people, and it stops people from actually doing the things that they particularly want to do. It triggers in them the feeling, and they want to avoid what they've been doing already. So, unlike fear, which is a natural response, phobias are more persistent, and they're very often irrational, and typically they are very disproportionate to any of the actual threat that is arriving. So, going and doing some public speaking, for example, well, that's not such a threat that it's going to kill you, but the actual phobia has it blown completely out of proportion and making it too difficult for the person to deal with. So, like a phobia of flying, and I've dealt with so many people now at this stage, from flying to public speaking to wasps, which is a major one, dogs, just so many. Fear of falling. It's just incredible the amount of different fears. Fears of crossing bridges. I mean, I could go on. There are just so many different ones that have presented over the time. And as I said at the very start, there are about 9 to 10% of the people that experience phobias. It can go across all age groups. But what I have found mainly is that the trigger or something happens in childhood or in adolescence. And that is where the trigger has come from. I suppose I would have to say there that, does it matter if they know what the trigger is or not? Actually, great news, it doesn't actually matter, because hypnosis can override the actual origins of it and put in the new program. So that's the really good news. And here's the other thing, which I kind of feel really interesting, is that there are more women who suffer from phobias than men. Isn't that interesting? And so it probably would account for the fact that I've had more women present in my clinic than men, but I have had my fair share of men presenting for phobias as well. Phobias can impact people on a very physical level. So we would have the fear of being sick, the sweating, the pulsing of the heart, the shaking, just that fear, that level of anxiety, that anticipation. It can really impact the body and the body cells as well. But here's the lovely thing: the hope is hip phobias, they absolutely can be treated, and they can be treated super successfully, not just for a half an hour or a couple of days. This is long-term solution. And this is where hypnotherapy comes in. Now, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT, is very effective in treating phobias. So that's where you've the cognitive, the mind, and the behavior of the actions that are taking place around the phobia and the fear. But when we combine those with the hypnotherapy, wow, you've got a super powerful tool in helping people overcome their phobia. It is absolutely amazing. So you're really getting in there to the actual root of the situation. And that's really how hypnotherapy helps, because we're going talking now at this stage about the subconscious mind. So if you think in terms of your mind being a beautiful garden, and there's this weed that just keeps hanging around in there. Well, phobias, to me, I would see them, they're like weeds. And they've gone deep into the subconscious mind, so deep into your beautiful, fresh garden in your mind. And they have created these automatic reactions that are stored right into the subconscious of the mind. Now, these responses are deeply embedded. They're like those tough weeds. They're deeply embedded into the subconscious mind, into the mind, and they are the ones that are causing all of the reactions, the physical symptoms, the sweat, the palpitations, and they are causing that sense of can't do it, and so it leads to the avoidance. But because they're often linked to a past experience, we can actually consider them to be a learned experience. Now, learning we can do in different ways. But we're all familiar with the learning in school, where you went in, you put down your little bag, and you rattled off your tables, or you rattled off your spellings. And this is a learning process, a normal, natural learning process. And it's what we call rote learning: repeat, 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 until it drops into the subconscious mind. Now, if I said to you, 7 nines, 63, you don't have to think. It's in the subconscious. It's gone in there so deep, bang, it's there. But what happens when we learn something or come across a phobia? It's where we learn in one foul bang. So it's like a trauma in that sense. So you could be just a little child playing away quite happily, and a butterfly or a moth or a spider or a wasp could just come across your face or your hand or whatever it is that you're doing. Maybe you got stung, who knows, maybe you didn't even get stung. But the panic that ensued from the people around you, oftentimes, or just the shock that it turned up there and then, your whole mind locks into that actual image, that feeling, that sense, and that dread comes up and you bank it. So you've learnt it in one swoop instant. What took you ages to learn? 7, 9, 63. Repeat, 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 repeat. No, a phobia is different. One foul swoop and it's in. It's banked into the subconscious mind. And so therefore you are then literally every time you see a wasp or see a spider, the reaction comes straight up in exactly the same way as the answer to your tables comes straight back. So you see how it gets embedded then deep into the subconscious mind. So the hypnosis, I would call it a gateway so that individuals can enter a deeply, deeply relaxed state. And I have to add here that hypnosis that we use as clinical and strategic and trauma therapists in our therapy is nothing like the hypnosis that you see on the TV or on the stage. So we need to get that one clear. That is where it's been adapted as a playtime. But that, in actual fact, has damaged the reputation of the wonderful tool that hypnosis is. Because when we do hypnosis as accredited therapists, we bring the people into a really deeply relaxed state of focused and comfortable and receptive well-being, actually, so that the mind is open and receptive to those suggestions that it needs to have and that the person wants to have. Like the person wants to be relaxed if there's a wasp in the room. They do not want to drop the baby and run out the door, as I've had clients come and tell me they've done. So we need to be able to bypass the critical, analytical, thinking mind and go straight down to the subconscious, where we can access the roots from those, again, I call them sort of weeds, where they're anchored in. We need to get down there to access those and to begin to release them. But once we can relax the critical mind, we can get right down into the subconscious. So in that sense, hypnosis is the gateway for releasing phobias. Once we're in the subconscious mind, and I'm giving you sort of an idea of what happens here. Once we're in that, enter into the subconscious mind, we use guided visualization, we use positive suggestions, and we create that real safe mental imagery so that we can rewire the subconscious mind. And another way I'd like to think of it is we could pull out those weeds, till the soil, get it all nice and clean and airy again, and then we can replant in the suggestions that the person would prefer to have in their life. So we guide people into that lovely, gentle way. Like I would have worked with somebody who had a fear of flying, and he had avoided it for years and years and years. And he used to just say things like, sure, I prefer it here. I don't want to go anywhere. But then when his family had all grown up and they were going on a holiday and they wanted him as part of their loving family group to travel together, to play together, to eat together, to enjoy life together, he was really pushed to the limit. And so his fear and his phobia came right up to the fore. Here they were, booking a ticket for him because they wanted him to be there. It was an expression of their love for him. They wanted him there. And he's there going, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of it? How can I solve this? And when he came to me, again, I would have gone, again, talking about that, the gateway into the subconscious. Once I knew what it was that was going to help him, then we used that entrance into the subconscious, took away those fears, just carried them on out, dug them all out, cleared them all out, just re-cleared that lovely garden growth there. And then we planted in the seeds of exactly what he wanted to happen in his life. So we did 3 sessions together and it was amazing. But can you imagine my excitement when I got a photograph from Portugal, where he had taken a photograph from his apartment right down over down onto the sea line. And he was sending me a photograph. I got here, Helen, was all he put on it. And I was thinking, oh my God, how exciting is that? So he was then getting time to spend time with his family. And that's my wish and my hope for people, that they can begin to rewire those fear responses. How do we rewire it? I'm going to go back over that, folks. We replace the fear with calm. That's why we access the subconscious, to replace the fear with calm. Onto that, we build positive imagery where they begin to see themselves actually managing to deal with the situation, to go through the steps. In fact, I would have taken him through the airport in his mind long before he ever got on a plane, long before he ever needed to hold the ticket in his hand. We had played it out and we had relearned a new experience, but we had put it in at the subconscious level so that he had no problem in taking his ticket in his hand, going to the airport, going through security. We'd covered every single step of the way, and his mind knew exactly what was happening, when it was happening, how it was happening, why it was happening. And so there was no more space left for fear. He understood and he felt calm and relaxed with it. And I suppose I would never let somebody out of my clinic without making sure that I had anchored their calm response. To me, that is just vital, actually. That when they go and they go to embark, again, just giving that example of that gentleman who was going on that flight, if something had triggered him, a bit of turbulence, maybe a hold up at security, who knows? I mean, life actually goes on and life happens. But to me, I am always make sure that I anchor their calm response in the body and in the mind so that no matter what is happening around them, they can actually connect back into that calm. And I do that using the power of the breath in particular. The breath, sometimes I put a bodily action with it, a function with it. It could be just a touch of their ear. It could be, but it's very subtle. It's very specific. And that is their way to anchor their calm response. So no matter what happens then, if there was turbulence on the plane, if somebody spilled a drink on top of him, whatever, he had immediately a way of anchoring his calm response. So oftentimes the origins of phobias and things, oftentimes it is the fact that we have had past experiences. There's one that literally just comes to mind now, and it was a little boy who was 5, who'd been on, again, it happened to be on a flight. It's just that it was just that. They'd gone on a family vacation. Something had happened in the airport, and at the age of 5, he was never going to fly again. Ever, ever, ever. He had stated it specifically. And so the family stopped talking about it. And when they spoke about it again, a year later, when they were preparing to go on holidays again, this little boy of 5 said, "Ye can go, I'll stay with Nanny." There was no way he wanted to fly again. So his dad brought him to me. And so that past trauma that had happened in his life, going through the airport the first time, we undid that whole saga by getting into the subconscious mind, releasing the fear, revisiting that actual event that happened. And what we did was we desensitized it so that he didn't see it as the big issue any longer. It was taking it right back down. So by reshaping the subconscious responses, hypnotherapy provides lasting results. They're not just they last for a little while and then you've got to come back and they wear off. No, these are lasting results. And I also, as I said, make sure that there is an anchor in there to prevent a relapse or something re-triggering. So the powerful, I'll just give you an idea. I suppose I've spoken about it indirectly there, giving you some examples. The types of techniques that we've used to bring about these stories of success that I can give you over and over and over again, there are 3 major techniques that we use in hypnotherapy. And one is guided visualization. You're talking the person through, and I spoke to you about that there a while ago. I spoke, got connected with the subconscious, yes. And then I spoke to the subconscious. I brought that subconscious mind through the airport, through every step of the way, up those steps, in. You met the flight attendant. You were directed to your seat. I did every step along the way. So it left no gaps for the fear to come back in. So that's the power of guided visualization. I spoke about desensitization a little while ago as well, about the little boy who had been shocked and something had happened as he was going through the airport. So we went back and we revisited that situation, desensitized it, and immediately I was into guided visualization. And oh my God, I had so much fun with that little boy. We were running around the room with pretend tickets and all kinds of put your bag here. And it was just the best of fun, into that childlike imagination. And that's where we access the subconscious so well. Yeah, the end of that story actually was that when he was saying, "Oh yeah," I said, "So where are you going on your holidays?" And he told his dad they were going to. It was something to do with the World Cup anyway, some of the big teams in the World Cup. And I just laughed. I looked at Dad and I said, "Oh, sorry, I hope your budget is catering for going that far away. You know, because it wasn't the normal going to France or Spain or wherever nearby, you know." It was like across, I think it was South Africa or so, or no, South America, I think it was actually. It was Argentina, probably. Yeah. That's where he was planning on going on his holidays. But it was a fantastic, fantastic outcome. And the third thing, so I've mentioned the guided visualization, I've mentioned the desensitization, positive suggestion, where you can just suggest to people when they're in that lovely relaxed state that they can see themselves confidently. You bring up their confidence as well as you do it. So confidently achieving whatever it is they need to achieve. And that would work really well in the likes of public speaking. So I was working with a first year student from college recently, lovely girl. And the minute she'd have so diligent, she'd have all her work in on time, all her slides prepared, everything ready. And then when it would come to stand in front of her own peers, there was about 50 in the room, she said, in her group, the stutter would start, the shaking would start, mouth would open, and nothing, but nothing would come out. And so, the stress that that was putting on her. So immediately we got started. And just by using the power of visualization, we began to call back the ability to use the mind to see yourself getting past this, bring up the confidence, hugely important, and get people moving forward. So the types, just to give you a quick idea of the types of fears that I've dealt with. One of them, I suppose one of the earlier ones I did, and oh my God, it was amazing. A mum brought her 16-year-old daughter to me because she had a fear of dogs. And at that particular point, the mum was saying, "I am not walking up the road with her, up the estate with her any longer. She's 16. She needs to be able to walk up the estate without being afraid if there's a dog coming out of a neighbour's house." So she came to me, and because she was so young, she couldn't actually, there's the thing again, she couldn't remember what the actual outcome was, what had triggered the phobia or the intense fear. We couldn't find a session. I thought, that's okay. We'll move on without that because we can. And so I went through the whole process, the desensitization, the visualization, the lovely relaxed calm, anchoring in that calm. And by the end of that 90-minute session, her mum was just in tears as she stood back and watched that young lady down on her hands and knees, rubbing our pet dog in the hallway. She was there going, "I've never felt a dog before." So the upshot of that story was they went to their cousin's house the following day, and they have lots of dogs. And she was the one walking around with the Jack Russell up in her arm all day long, could not put the dog down. She loved it so much. And apparently they now have their own pet dog in their own house as well. So they're just bringing in that sense of can do, feeling good, all is well. It's just so important. The quality of people's lives change completely. That girl can go out anywhere she likes. And I always say to people, you still have to have a healthy respect because you don't know another person's dog. But you need to feel calm enough to be able to move about in your own life, enjoy your own life, and not feel that sense of dread that goes with fears and phobias. And an interesting case as well, where I worked with someone, I'll just give you a couple of quick ones. Worked with a gentleman in the south of France. He lives there, and he had a fear of falling. Now, a really genuine fear. It had happened as a result of a situation. He had fallen on slippy tiles, wearing new shoes, slippy tiles, and he had cracked his head. And so he was left with this intense fear of falling. Having to go down steps was a major issue. Going down, we'll say if he was going to the beach or somewhere down a slope, big problem. Like the fear would bring up in him that he would fall, that he'd lose his balance, that he'd slip. So once we worked through those fears, released them, got him to feel more confident in himself. Yeah. Again, it was another amazing result. And what I meant to say to you is when I was checking that young girl after she'd come to me for the fear of dogs, I love to test my work before I let people out. So that was why I had that young girl down on her hands and knees rubbing the dog, because I was testing the quality or the result of her session. Again, with that gentleman in the south of France, because we worked over Zoom, well, I couldn't take him by the hand and bring him off out somewhere. So all he could do was he had to hold the laptop, which meant he had to be extra steady. He had to go up the stairs and come down the stairs holding the laptop, which is not an easy thing to do. You know, you've got more to balance than just yourself. But this was a way of testing that, yes, he was now in control again. And that's the big thing for people, that they can get back that sense of control in their lives again. Okay, so fear of flying, yeah, I've covered that a couple of times. Fear of wasps, I mentioned it, where a young mother put down her newborn baby and left the room and left her child in the room with the wasp. Or another lady who had brought in turf for the fire, and once this wasp came up out of the turf basket, she was gone out of the room, couldn't deal with the situation again. And so by releasing those fears, just the difference to a person's life, to the quality of a person's life, it is absolutely huge. Now, there are lots of things that you can do for yourself. I better keep moving on here. There are lots of things that you can do for yourself to help you overcome your fears and phobias. And you can practice breath work, for example. And this is really beneficial because I too would use breath work as part of the technique in hypnotherapy. But at times that's just not enough because the actual fear, the phobia is deep rooted, as I said earlier, it's deep rooted into the subconscious. So it's to release that fear and phobia is really where it comes in. But just to show you an example of a nice breath work that's very easy, you can practice it anywhere, anytime. You just inhale through your nose, just slowly to the count of 4. Hold your breath for 7. Exhale completely out through the mouth to the count of 8, making a swooshing sound. And repeat those 3 steps at least 4 times. So what you're doing there is like a mini version of connecting with your subconscious. And I'll explain to you why. You're thinking about the breath. You're getting your body to connect into the breath. And as you're releasing it and making that noise, you're listening, you're feeling, you're hearing, and your body is connecting. So all of that is drawing all of the senses into what's happening in the moment. And that is such a good way to anchor yourself and bring that calm and that just gentleness back into your life again. But we'll just take here a couple of moments just to give you a little feeling of what the deep relaxation of hypnosis is like. So if it's safe for you to do so right now, and I'd always emphasize that it's safe for you to do so, because you do not want to do this if you are driving or if you're operating machinery of any kind. But once it is safe for you to do so, I'm going to invite you now just to close your eyes down just for a couple of moments here with me. Allow your eyes just to gently close on down. And just take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And if it's okay for you to do so, you can just sigh it out as you release. That's it. Inhaling that lovely, deep, comfortable breath. And exhaling it. Just allowing yourself just to reconnect with the feeling within yourself of calmness. Breathing in that lovely, easy breath. It's fresh, it's clear. And just on the out breath, just letting it go. Just dropping even deeper into that lovely, comfortable, easy space. Just imagine now your chair is just your support. It's like you're a lovely candle. And you're in this gorgeous, gorgeous candle holder. And it is supporting you while you allow yourself to feel warm inside, feel relaxed, and feel bright and comfortable. And then just allow your mind to drift across time and space. Allow your mind to take you somewhere. Maybe you remember it from when you were little. Maybe it's a place you'd love to go. Allow your mind to take you to a beautiful place. A place where you know you can sense that feeling of being deeply relaxed, deeply calm, and deeply comfortable and at ease. It could be a space by the beach. It could be a gorgeous garden that you know. Or it could be just sitting in your own front room. Whatever picture comes to mind is absolutely perfect. And as you look about you in that lovely space, what do you notice? If you're by the sea, maybe you notice the gentle waves and the warm sunlight. Maybe if you're in the garden, you're aware of those gorgeous trees and shrubs, sound of water lapping or trickling through a fountain. Or if you're indoors, in your own home, maybe you're just aware of the clock ticking, noises in the background. But in that space, you can feel so comfortable, so easy, and so relaxed, feeling warm, feeling at ease. And right now, your conscious mind is just taking a well-deserved break. Because all of the time, from the moment your eyes open in the morning until they close at night, your conscious mind is working very diligently on your behalf. It is watching, noticing, keeping you focused, bringing up ideas for you. That conscious mind is just so busy. But right now, it's being allowed a little bit of time out time. a little vacation for your mind. And in that space, you can allow yourself to connect with your own sense of well-being and your own sense of comfort and calmness and relaxation. And in that space, right here, right now, all is well in your world. You are comfortable, calm, and relaxed. And this is your own state of deep and comfortable relaxation. And to be honest, there is no limit to how deeply you can relax. And so, having enjoyed that lovely little mental vacation just now, I'm going to begin to count you back from 1 to 5 so that you can come right back up into everyday awareness again with that lovely feeling and the knowledge that you can access your own calm well-being. This will come right back to the surface with you. And anytime you need to connect with it, you can just remember to take those lovely, long, slow, deep breaths. And just reunite yourself with your own comfort and calmness and well-being. So coming back again then, from 5, 4 to 3, your mind, body, and breath are all in perfect alignment. 2, more aware now of your space right there on the chair. And 1, just coming right back to everyday awareness, and give a little stretch and a little smile, just feeling that sense of calmness has just been reconnected within you. So there's a little mini session of how gentle a hypnotherapy session is. But in doing that lovely, gentle hypnotherapy, it is the outcome that the person wishes for. The outcome to feel calm when there's a wasp flying around them, to being okay to walk up the road, or to feel that they can go with their family on a family vacation. Those are the feelings that are important. Those are the feelings that, in my mind, people are entitled to be able to feel well enough to explore their life, enjoy their life. And that is why I love hypnosis in the form of hypnotherapy, which benefits people to enjoy their lives again. So that is my little spiel and hello and hi for today. I'm just wondering if any of you have any questions you might like to ask for clarity on anything, or if you enjoyed that sense of getting into that calmness.
Helen, that's my first time ever to be involved in anything for hypnotherapy, so it was amazing, I don't think I ever had any fear, but the knowledge I picked up from you this morning is amazing, so thanks a million for that. I really enjoyed it.
Margaret,
sadly I have to run because I have a meeting in the office at 1 o'clock, and I've got 15 minutes to get there. But
well, you'll be
really
going in there
enjoyed
now,
it.
Margaret, in your nice, calm,
Absolutely.
easy state. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm
Really
delighted, absolutely delighted that you got that sense of, yes, this could benefit and can calm and reassure people that all is well.
It's been a crazy morning on telephones and emails and everything else, and suddenly
it's all, drop it all
Yeah.
back there, and you're going forward now into that lovely clear space where things will flow more readily
Thank you
for
so
you.
much.
You are
Thanks,
so
Helen.
welcome. It's been a pleasure. Delighted to see you here.
Cheers.
Delighted.
Bye.
Bye. Excellent. Excellent. So all else is well. Well, just give us a good thumbs up there if you're happy with that. Excellent. Well, I'd love, love, love to be able to help anybody who is logging on here, or if you know of a friend or a colleague or an acquaintance who's struggling, really and truly, they shouldn't be. There's just that much help available. And it is not just a flash in the pan, quick solution, 5 seconds, and then it's all forgotten again. No, this is a long lasting benefit to people. And just to let you know that when I work with people, it's like wearing kid gloves. You just mind them, mind them, mind them, mind them, and bring them right through the process so that they can feel their absolute best and they can get on with their lives in a lovely, confident, and relaxed way. So if I can help anyone at all, just feel free to book a free consultation with me. You can chat for up to 30 minutes. And I can tell you there and then if there's a way that you can sort the situation yourself, or I'd be more than happy to help you if that's what suits best. So, looking forward to hearing from you in the near future with your thoughts, your ideas, or if you need to get further information, absolutely connect with me. I would be delighted to help. So thank you so much. We went on longer than I expected today, but this is one of my favorite topics, folks. Those big fears, those phobias. Oh yeah, I just love clearing them. That's it. Let people get on and live and enjoy their lives. So thank you so much for joining me here today, and
Thank
do
you.
feel free to reach out. Thanks again.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
bye for now.